Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. This evening, we will have a Bhante Dhammapala to share with us 16 practical approaches to calm and insight. Bhante Dhammapala is the founder and the abbot of the Brahmavihara Monastery and Retreat Center, Melaka, and the Bodhivana Monastery of Sungai, Pelek, and the Center of Mindfulness in Hong Kong. He spent 15 years studying Buddhist philosophy, Pali and Sanskrit literatures in Sri Lanka and Hong Kong. In 2009, he obtained his doctorate of philosophy in Buddhist study under the supervision of Professor Venerable K.L. Dhammajoti in the University of Hong Kong. Bhante travels frequently to conduct meditation retreats, Dhamma talks, Dhamma camps for youth and teenagers. Without any further, we'd love to invite Bhante to talk about the practical approach to calm and insight. Bhante, please.
Sadhu, sadhu. Namo Buddhaya. Good evening. All right, so we look at these topics today, 16 practical approaches to calm and insight, to rediscover peace and joys in meditation. So this is one of the very ancient practice and discovered by the Buddha himself, right? And the Buddha has shown us through the successive practice, and he got enlightenment under the Bodhi tree. And of course, more correctly to say that, he realized the ending of suffering, right? Or we can say that he discovered the truth of suffering and the cessation of suffering, right? To kind of roll up. And of course, we can equate this with nirvanas, the attainments of nirvana. And this is what we all aspire for, right? And we Buddhists usually say, what is your achievement, right? Your final, salvation, right? And usually Buddhists never said they will go to the heaven, but they said they will attain the ultimate, nirvanas. Okay, and of course, by definition, right, nirvana is the supreme happiness, right? Supreme happiness, Nibbana, paramang, sukham, right? Nibbana is the highest happiness, right? And we are all looking for the happiness, right? And different religion will talk about the ultimate, the salvation, right? Which is, they call it heaven, right? But of course, in Buddhism, we don't talk about the heaven, right? Our ultimate liberation is the attainment of nirvana, right? And of course, tonight we are dealing with the 16 practical approaches, right, to the calms and insight. Here the calms are referred to the samatha, and the insight here referred to the vipassana. Okay, and these two practices complement each other, right? And of course, next we will look at our Buddhist disciples, right? And in the Sutas, we will discover that the Buddhist monks are usually very happy, right? And the Buddhist disciples also very happy, and and there is a types of mind, right? The state of mind of the Buddhists, of the Arahat. They call it the smile of an Arahat, just Aloha Louisiao, the smile of an Arahat. And there's a stories with regards to the smile of an Arahat and why this inspired lots of people coming to embrace Buddhism, right? And this one is found in one of the sutras, the King Pasenadi, the King Pasenadi. You know, the King Pasenadi, he was a very strong, the Buddhist, yeah? and he admired very much the disciples of the Buddhas, and he compared the Buddha's disciples with others disciples of the other sect, right? Other ascetic, and the King Pasenadi, right, said to the Buddhas that the Buddha's disciples are all very smiling and very cheerful, right? And they are really joyful, and and very delight, right? And they are living at ease, and they are very contained, right? Contentment. So you can see lots of the descriptions describe the state of the Arahat, right? And they are living at ease, and they are all smiling, right? And of course, the king also further said, right? As you look at other disciples of other school, other ascetic, right? They use the words is a bit sarcastic, but it's quite true. And the King Pasenadi said they all looked very haggard. I mean, this is a metal English translation, and they all look very ugly. And and what it further said is the king said, they have the vein, the blue vein, appearing all over the body. And you see, and the king Pasenadi even said, the people's eyes don't even want to look at them anymore, right? So, yeah. So you can see that comparing the Buddha's disciples and the other ascetic practices, the Buddha's disciples are indeed very happy, right? Because they have realized what is meant by Nirvana. Okay, and we are not talking about nirvanas to be attained after passing away, but nirvanas can be experienced in this very life itself. Okay, so this kind of sublime excellence qualities, right, or experience are what we all Buddhists aspire for, right? The reason why Buddhism become very popular, especially the mindful practice, meditation, right, become very popular because I think this is also, the Buddhist teachings of the common insight really give them, the experience of the happiness. Right? And of course, today we are looking at two very important suttas, particularly the Mahasatipatthana suttas, and translation into English like the four foundation of mindfulness or four establishment of mindfulness. There are another suttas we call the Satipatthana sutta. Anapanasati, right? Anapanasati means in and out breathing mindfulness. Okay, so we will look at these two suttas, particularly the Anapana suttas, giving the 16 stages of the breathing in and out exercise. Okay. All right. Okay. First, we look at the Mahasatipatthana suttas. Right? And we all know that the Mahasatipatthanas is very, very important suttas. Right? The reason is because it provides a very comprehensive the theories and the practice. Okay, and the very foundation of the practice is the meditation of breathing in and out. If you look at the foundation of mindfulness, right, it's giving the gradual successive stages, right, in the progressive of the Satipatthanas. The contemplation, the very first one is the Anapanasati. Okay, it's the Anapanasati. So you see in the Mahasatipatthana suttas, right? The suttas start by saying, these four Satipatthanas are ekayana. Right? You can look at the translation ekayana, right? And what is meant by ekayana? Ekayana means the direct path, right? And someone will translate as the only path, but I don't like the word only because when you talk about the only, then people will challenge, right? Then how about my practice? Why your practice is only? My practice is not only. You see, so you find a lot of controversies. But we say that it's more direct, right? It's more direct path, right? And the reason we use the direct path because it leads directly to the purification of being, right? So you see the monk, this is a direct path, right? Ekayana. For the purification of beings, for the surmounting of the sorrow and lamentation, for the disappearance, right, of dukkha, right, and discontent, for acquiring the true methods for the realization of Nibbana, namely the four Satipatthana. Okay, so yeah, this is what the Satipatthana Suttas by first saying, these following these Mahasatipatthanas is the direct path, right? And the very first, the root practice is the anapanasati, okay, the anapanasati. And of course, we will look at this anapanasati, right? And this panasati involves the training of the sati and sampajanya, right? So you can see that throughout these 16 stages of breathing in and out, right? There is this mindful and comprehending, right? Or the mindful and awareness, right? This kind of sati and sampajanya involving, being present, right? Being in the present moment. And not only that, also talking about attending to these four things, like attending to the body, attending to the feeling, right? Attending to the mind, and attending to the dhammas, right? With mindfulness and awareness. You can see that usually we'll talk about the mindfulness. Rarely people talk about the awareness, right? So for comprehensive trainings of the mindful practice, that required awareness as well. Huh? Of course, this awareness is the English translation, right? If you know a little bit of Pali, that would be an advantage, like the sampajanya, right? Sampajanya. Sam and pra and chnya, right? Chnya means to know, pra means thought, right? And the sam means completely, it means that you have to know completely what's happening to every in and out breath, other than being mindful to the object, right? The object means the alambana, right? It means that you have to attend the object attentively, but other than attending to the object, right, we have to have an awareness of what's happening to every in and out breath. Okay, so this is what we are going to look at, for these 16 stages. And also interesting, I find that in the Satipatthana, it says that, one who practice the, the four foundation of mindfulness, right? It says that within 7 years, right, at most, will lead to the attainment of Sakadagami and Anagami. Isn't it interesting, no? They said that at most, 7 years. I don't know how many times for 7 years we have been doing the practice, right? But it says that the more 7 years, right, it will lead to the attainment of the Sakadagami. You know the Sakadagami? You know the Anagami. We are talking about the four sand path, right? You have the Sotapanna, right? You have the Sakadagami, and you have Anagami and Arahant. Okay, so they said that the most 7 years, right, you will attain these two attainment. Or then they said that, the shortest is 7 days, right? So, but let's give an assurance, right? If we practice this Satipatthana, right, first by starting with this Anapanasati, right, the shortest is 7 days, right? So you find that in Buddhism, everything deal with good, attainment, nirvanas, has to do with 7, isn't it? Even our child, you talk about the Sattabojjhanga, right? The 7 factors of awakening, right? It's also 7, isn't it? And they said that when you do merits, not only 7, right? You have to double 7. That's why you find 49 days. Isn't it like someone passed away, right? And we were taught, to do merit for departed ones. We had to continuously doing it for 49 days, right? They said that 1/7 is not enough. You have to 7/7/7. That's how you end up with 49 days. Okay, now we look at this, the contents of Satipatthana, right? Satipatthana. And you see, you look at these contents, these great successive developments. One might find that meditation require a lot of understanding of theories, right, and less practice is emphasized. And in fact, that is not true, right? We should say that the practice and the theories should come side by side. It should come together, right? Without the theories and understanding, and there is hardly, right, any proper practice, right, and realization, right? So, yeah, usually when we talk about in the early Sutas, they talk about the wisdom. Yeah, they talk about the wisdom. They said that there are these three types of wisdom, right? One type of wisdom is derived from the understanding, right? The Pali word is Sutamai, right? And the second type of wisdom is derived from the repeated investigation, right? That is called the Chintamai, right? And the third one is the wisdom derived from the cultivation, right? So you can see the importance of the theories, right? Being the first, right? Being the wisdom derived from the listening and understanding, right? It says that in meditation doesn't mean like what people thought, right? Meditation doesn't need to do anything, right? Just diam do dog will do, but it is not the case, right? Or a lot of Chinese, they would think that, oh, meditations, don't think a lot, huh? Just leave your blank mind, your mind blank, right? That is also not true, right? You see, this meditation, right? If you don't have a proper understanding of meditation, right? Then if there is this unwholesome, right, mental thought arises, then you don't understand, this unwholesome thought that arises in your mind, then you don't know how to find ways to, counter or to get rid of, to abandon these unwholesome states of mind, right, from its arising, or even to abandon it, right? And of course, furthermore, to prevent the unwholesome, the mental states, right, in the future. So you see, all these things require a lot of training, a lot of understanding, a lot of theories, right, with respect to meditation, right? So, right, similarly, right, if you don't have a proper understanding of meditation, here I refer to the theory, right? And then if there is a wholesome thought, right, arises, then you don't know how to, you don't, what do you call it? If there is this wholesome thought arises, right, then you don't understand, this wholesome thought. Then if you don't understand this, then you don't know how to find ways to develop this wholesome thought, and to strengthen, right, this wholesome thought until, right, its perfection. You see, so you see, if you look at this, this chart, right, it's giving a lot of understanding, a lot of theories, right? Then, if you look at the practice of this Satipatthana, right, it should be trained and progress, right, from the grossest level, right, from the kaya, from the body, right? That is through the contemplation of the body, right? Kaya anupassana, right? That is through the breathing in and out, right? Breathing, yeah? And gradually you find that as you progress, right, in your meditation, right, you can go to the next level, right? The subtle level, from the contemplation of the feeling, from the contemplation of the mind, and the contemplation of the Dhamma, right? So you see, in this kind of training, right, as you complete this, you see, the whole 14, right, path, right? You complete also the calm and insight, right? The samatha and vipassana. Okay, so because of this, right, through the Satipatthana, one realized Nibbana. Okay, and yeah, maybe we can just have a look at this, because I find this one very interesting, especially the grossest level, right? Other than the in and out breathing, right? You find also the posture, right? The postures, right? Like usually you find, people who meditate, right? They also teach you how to walk, right? It's called the walking meditation, right? So this walking meditation can be subsumed under this posture. And other than this, also we find this awareness, right? And the activities. Here they talk about the sati sampajanya, right? And then other than this, also you have the anatomical part. So this is the 32 parts of the body, right? Is the practice of this asubha bhavana, right? And then you also have these 4 elements, right? 4 elements here referred to Patavi, Apo, Tejo, Vayu, right? 地水火风, right? And then another one is the corpse in decay, right? So, you know, talking about the decomposition of the body, right? After one's death. So, and then after that, you also find the feeling, right? Of course, we don't have the time to deal with it, but to me, they are all interconnected, right? So, for example, in the contemplation of feeling, you have to give rise to these very unworldly types of, you know, that kind of feeling that helps, you know, for the, what do you call, giving you a very unwholesome types of pleasant feeling, right? That is very essential, right, for your spiritual path, for the spiritual practice. And then you also have this contemplation of the mind, right? And then another one, the contemplation of the Dharma. Here the Dharmas, you look at it, right? The Dharma here deal with 5 types of Dharmas, right? You deal with the 5 hindrances, right? These 5 hindrances refer to the unwholesome types, right? And then you have another one is the 5 aggregates, right? And then another one is the 12 sense sphere. Another one is the 7 factors, 7 awakening factors. These are the wholesome mental factors, right? That's why I start by saying that if you don't understand all these things well, right? If any unwholesome thought arises in your mind, if you don't understand it, then you don't abandon it, right? Similarly, when you have this, you know, this arising of the wholesome thought, right? Then if you don't understand, you know, these dhammas, then you miss the opportunity to strengthen the wholesome state of mind. Okay, and of course, finally, you know, you have to realize the Four Noble Truth, right? Four Noble Truth. So this is our aim, right? Towards all this practice will lead you to see the Four Noble Truth by your own eyes, you know, facing face to face, right? So this is a transformation, right? From being a pratujana, from worldly to an Arya. Okay, so you can see that there is this change of lineage, right? From worldly being to Arya by seeing the Four Noble Truths. Okay, so there is a Pali term for it. It's called Abhisamaya. Xian Guan has Abhisamaya mean, you know, facing face to face, you know, the truth, the Four Noble Truths. Okay, then eventually you realize, and after seeing the Four Noble Truths, then you realize the path and the fruition. Okay, so you can see that these are the gradual path. Okay, now, yeah, this one is coming from the Anapanasati. Okay, Anapanasati giving you a very clear path of enlightenment, right? Mindfulness of breathing. Okay, so you see this practice of Anapanasati, right, includes a very complete development of 16 stages of coming aspect, right, and the insight aspect, right, is what we call the samatha vipassana, right, and it describes, you know, how mindfulness of breathing, right, it developed properly, right, it will fulfill the 4 foundation of mindfulness, right. If the 4 establishment or 4 foundation of mindfulness, when developed and cultivated, right, it fulfill the 7 factors of awakening. And the 7 factors of awakening, when developed and cultivated, right, fulfill the 3, what you call the true knowledges, right? This is what we call the abhinya, right? You will develop certain extraordinary power by developing, you know, the knowledge of, you know, recollection of your past life, etc., etc. You see? So you can see that, you know, so the Anapanasati describes how mindfulness of breathing, right, can be developed in such a way that it encompasses all 4 foundation of mindfulness. Okay. Okay, now we look at another one also. This one is from the Samyutta Nikaya, right? And you see the Buddha taught us 2 very important teachings before he passed away. right? The first one is the mindfulness. If you look at the word mindfulness, right, it's coming from the word sati, and the Sanskrit word is from the smurti. Right? Smurti is from the root smur. Smur means not to remember. Smur. Smur, to remember. So that is say when you talk about the sati. Sati, what is that? Is remembering or not to forget, right? So it means that not when you practice a meditation, not to forget, mean not to forget the object, not to forget the alambana, 所缘. So for example, in the practice of mindfulness, right, we remember the in and out throughout 16 stages. While breathing in, you know, right? You are breathing in. So that kind of knowing breathing in, right? And breathing out, knowing breathing out is the mindfulness. Because if not, then you will forget the object and then you fall asleep immediately, right? So it means that constantly we pay attention to the object. Okay, so this is the word sati. And of course, the word sati is also very closely related to the sampajanya, right? And yeah, sampajanya, yeah. Some people translate as awareness, some people translate as comprehending, right? Whatever it is, Chinese word still the best. What is that? 正知, huh? 正知, or we call it like 觉知, So these two terms supplement each other, right? These two, especially for the cultivation of the peaceful and the joyful mind, right? And these two, right, mindfulness and awareness, right, are to be applied together to the whole 16 stages of mindfulness of in and out breathing. And similarly, right, to these four foundations of mindfulness. So you can see that when you talk about the sati, you should have said the sampajanya, awareness. Okay, so these two are together. This is what you find in the Sutta Nikaya. The Buddha says, a bhikkhu should dwell mindful and clearly aware. Right? And this is my instruction to you. Right? So this mindfulness and awareness, again, they are related to each other. But also there, in the West, when I talk about the mindfulness, seems they don't talk they didn't talk on the awareness, right? They stress on the mindfulness, but they didn't say much on the awareness. Okay, so okay, now we look at the differences between the mindfulness and awareness, right? The mindfulness, say for example, the mindfulness, right? We have seen that the mindfulness means, to remember, right? Not to forget the object of meditation. So this is to train our minds to remain in the present moment, right? Because you have to live in the present moment so that you can, constantly paying attention, not to forget and to remember all the time the objects of meditation, right? So in the meditation, you have to, train your mind, to remain in the present moment. Yeah, this is one thing. And of course, no past and no future. And to remember, right, not to forget, right, to take the breathing in and out as an object of meditation, right? And to bring the object in and out to the present moment. Yeah, so this is the aspect of mindfulness. Okay, I think that kind of simple description is good enough for you, right? So when you understand sati, mean not to forget, it means that not to forget, to take the breathing in and out as an object of meditation. Okay, so and how about the aspect of awareness, right? Aspect of awareness. So other than being mindful, right, of the breathing in and out, right? So we have to train our mind to so that our mind, we know, the qualities of our mind, right? When you talk about the qualities of mind, then you should train your mind, to know whether your mind is in a wholesome state or in the unwholesome state. So that when any of these the mental factors, came to our mind, we know that, right? It means that you're aware of this unwholesome state, and then you find, the ways to get rid of it, right? And to make sure, to stop from its arising. Or you have to find probably like other countermeasures, right? To cultivate, to get to abandon this unwholesome state of mind, from its arising in the future, right? So it means that every breathing in and out, you're aware of what's happening to the mind, right? Especially the qualities of the mind. So this one is also very important in the whole of the Buddhist practice that we're going to see afterwards. This when talk about the 16, the practical approach to the common insight. Here we apply the sati and sampajanya. Okay. Okay, now we also look at another one that a lot of people said, especially a lot of Buddhists would ask you, is your meditation a samatha one or vipassana one? Is it? To me, sometimes when someone asks this kind of questions, to me it's very naive, right? The Buddhists in the whole sutta never teach, oh, my teaching is samatha, or my teaching vipassana. The Buddha will say that, oh, my teaching is, the Buddha says, samadhi bhikkhave, right? Bhavet samahito bhikkhave bhikkhu yatha bhutang pajanati. That is to say, if a bhikkhu has concentration, right, he understands as it really is, right? Okay, actually is. So it means that when your mind is concentrated, right, you see the insight, see things as they are. That is to say, the samatha and vipassanas are together. Okay, and why we have the samatha and vipassana? Because that is the influence of the Abhidhamma, right? The influence of Abhidhamma. Abhidhamma has the tendencies of, the classifies the teaching, right? And they are very good at, classification. So they're trying to make a classification. This is meditation. Yeah, we group that under the samatha. Or this is meditation, we group that vipassana. So that is the Abhidhamma's teaching, right? But as to the sutta, Buddha says very clearly, my teaching, right? If your mind is concentrated, you will see things as they are. Because that's quite true, right? Because in the whole of meditation, right, it's about the training, it's about the mindfulness and awareness, right? Okay, now, so now, all right. So we now come back to how Buddhists got enlightenment, right? We know that the Prince Siddhartha, right, spent quite a number of years, right? Books, of course, say 6 years, but I use the word quite a number of years, right? Practicing, all kind of ascetic, that kind of painful striving, right? He took a very little food, right, until his body is completely, withered and almost died, right? So, of course, he gave up all these ascetic practices, right? And he thought to himself, he said, oh, my body is so weak, right? And I could not obtain the happiness at all, right? Through this kind of ascetic, very painful striving. Then, of course, he gave up, right? And we know that from the Sutas, right? He started accepting, this boiled rice, milk rice. What do you call this? Yeah, milk rice. Yeah. That's why in the Buddhist country, milk rice is very important. Buddhist, Chinese Buddhists also, we also have that kind of rice, you see. They talk about 八宝粥, huh? 八宝粥, huh? Yeah, that also has something to do with the milk rice here. So you see, then the Prince Siddhartha accepted these, the milk rice and the porridge, right, offered by the Sujata. So after eating, right, the Prince Siddhartha, right, he regained his strength, and your Sutas continue saying that when he was thinking, the way ahead, right, how should I, continue, right? Because he can't give up, right? So while he was thinking the way ahead, right, suddenly a memory came to him, and he said, to himself, this is indeed the path to enlightenment. Okay, so this is how the story said, right? He said, I recall that, when my father, the Sakyan, was occupied, right, while I was sitting in the cool shade of rose apple tree, secluded from the sensual pleasure, secluded from the unwholesome states, I entered and dwelt in the first jhana, which is accompanied by thought and examination, with rapture and happiness born of seclusion. Could this be the path to enlightenment? Right, then following on this memory came the realization, this is indeed the path to enlightenment. Okay. Yeah, if you look at the Buddha's path to enlightenment, right? In many sutras, right, it talk about, the Buddha's, very soon, after getting the strength, right, by receiving the food, by eating the milk rice, right, he regained his strength, and then very soon he entered into the fourth jhana. Again, in the sutras, the Buddha's laid emphasis on the attainment of jhana, right? You see, the Buddha spending so many years, practicing all kind of painful striving, and he couldn't succeed. And then he remember, when he was young time, right, he has the experience of the attainment into the first jhana. You see, so immediately, recalling this, so very excellent, right? Because this kind of unworldly, pleasurable feeling, right? He thought to himself, yeah, this is indeed the path to enlightenment, right? So, yeah, so this is a very good, very subtle experience, right? Like yesterday, we also share about, the body chitters, right? A lot of people gave up, even meditation also after practicing for some time, yeah? And we have met a lot of friends. They have never experienced, wow, when people talk about the first jhana, of course, they did practice for many, many years, but they have not attained, this kind of subtle experiences. So after several years, right, and, they gave up totally, the Buddhism and convert himself to other religion. They said that, I don't know what, is it just find no joy is in the practice of meditation, right? We do find a lot of Buddhists come to us, you see, a struggle being a Buddhist, right? So I think reason because, they have a lot of struggle because they have not experienced what we call the pleasurable feeling, right? Like we are going to say that, what is that? Like Mahayana, they talk about when you make a vow, right, to become a bodhisattva, right? You have to give rise to the bodhicittas, right? Bodhicitta, right? The chittas means the mind, mother enlightenment. And how to give rise to that kind of bodhicittas, right? They talk about, the experience of joys. They talk about, while listening to the Dhammas or while, reciting the Sutas, you have the experience of goosebump, right? Or that kind of goosebump, right? Suddenly it's like, striking. And also probably you have the experience of crying or the experience of the kind of smiling. And they said that these are the good start. And this kind of practice is giving rise, is an assurance that you have given the bodhicittas. And this kind of bodhicitta, once arises in your mind, right, you will be destined all the way to the attainment of the Buddhahood without giving up the practice. Okay, so this one has given us an assurance, right? Practice, if you don't have any experience of joys and happiness, right, your practice become very dry, become very boring. Right? Look at everybody, wow, practice so good, huh? When my practice is so lousy, you have a lot of complain to yourself, right? And then if you don't progress higher, slowly you will withdraw yourself, right? So this is not good. So anyway, that's why we had to give it some time, in the meditation centers, say like for 7 days, right? Or even 10 days, right? To have that kind of experience of joy and happiness. So when you have that kind of joy in you, you will sure, this is like the starting journey. Yeah, you will sure will lead all the way to the what they call the attainment of Nirvana. All right. So other than the experience, other than the attainment of the first, second, third, and fourth jhana, right? The Buddhists in the Sutra also talk about, he acquired the knowledge of the recollection of the past life, right? And he also acquired the knowledge of the passing away and rebirth of all beings, right? And not only that, the third knowledge the Buddha acquired is the knowledge of the destruction of the taints of the defilements. Okay. Okay, now we look at this anapanasati, right? It says, a monk having gone to the forest, to the foot of a tree, to an empty heart, sit down. Yeah. Right? And then having folded his leg crosswise, strengthen his body and set up mindfulness in front of him. Paramukha. right? Just mindfully breathe in and just mindfully breathe out. So you see, this statement is very short, but it gives us a lot of information, right? First, we have to choose a right place to meditate. Okay, if you meditate in your office, I sure can't, right? So you have to really make an effort, choose the right place to meditate, right? This way you have to meditate in the forest, right? Or not only that, also you have to meditate under the foot of a tree or in an empty space, empty heart, right? And then you have to fold your leg crosswise and strengthen your body and set up mindfulness in front of him. You see, I find it interesting because in the sutta, Buddha didn't say you have to meditate looking at your nostril, right? The Buddha simply said, set up mindfulness in front of you. And of course, when you talk about the, lots of meditation teachers interpret parimukha differently, right? Like for example, in the Visuddhimagga, right, the Buddha Gosha, right, or in some Burmese tradition, right, as teacher, they will ask you to focus on your breathing at the nostril, right, at the tip, at the tips of the nose, right? Okay, as you breathe in, you know that you're breathing in, and breathe out, you know that you're breathing out, right? So it means that the attention, the focus on the tips of the nose, right? And what else? Some other teacher would teach you to what they call to experience what they call to experience the wind element, wind element of the sama as you what they call rising and falling. So these are all due to the wind elements in the abdomen. And then another one is to experience the breathing at the chest, right? Okay, instead of focusing on the tips of the nose, you also experience your breathing at the chest, right? And nowadays there are also quite a number of teachers the awareness to the direct awareness, right, to the breathing itself. Okay, it means that there is no specific area, but this perceived the kind a direct awareness. So rather than focusing on a different area, so you just note this the act of breathing itself. Okay, and yeah, all this practice I think require a lot of smile. Right, smile. If you can smile in your meditation, you can see a tremendous experience that you have, right? So definitely, Buddha didn't say how to relax the body, but smile is a form of relaxation as well. Right? Okay, now you look at this. I'm giving you, altogether the 16 stages, right? And you look at the first two, right? Involve knowing aspect, knowing, and the rest 14 involve training. Okay, you can see that the knowing and trainings are two different things. Yeah? Knowing means that they come naturally, so you just put a little bit of attention to know as you breathe in and out, right? But the training is very different now. The training, right? Training means you have to put a lot of effort, right? A lot of effort. It means that a lot of training is required because the kind of breathing don't come naturally, right? So you have to put an effort. It means that you have to work extra effort, hard, to some extent, because this kind of training involve, require a wider awareness of the object. Okay. For example, as I breathe in, I know I'm breathing in long, right? So this awareness of an object, or the quality of the breath, that is of long breath, for example. Okay. Yeah. So, and then, okay, we look at the first two, right? We directly go into we will cover all 16, don't worry. Yeah? So we look at the first two, right? In the first two breath, right? The key words here is the pajanati, right? Knowing, pajanati. So knowing. So you see, the first two stages involve knowing, not the training. not the training yet. I used to say, like nowadays people likes to go to the gym for the training of the body, right? And then they follow certain teacher, right, to make a little bit of muscle here and there, right? But how about the mind? Mind also require training. Yeah, these are the training. Nowadays, in the West, they make a lot of money. They are using the Buddhist methods of this mindfulness and awareness, right? And they are produce a certain package, right? And then they are selling the package, right? You come in and meditate, right? Following their package, right? You have to spend a lot of money. Now, so that people likes to, spend money for that kind of immediate result. If you ask them to come and listen, they don't, because, they say that this one bo liao, if they pay money, they are serious about it, right? Because they pay money, huh? If they don't pay money, they don't put an effort. They just come and go, huh? If they pay money, simtia, no. The simtia. Okay, yeah. So this is the first two stages, requires knowing. You see, so I breathe in long, I know I'm breathing in long and out. So similarly, so you see short and long short and out short. You see, so you have the sati and sampajanya. The sati here means throughout the breathing in and out, the object of breathing in and out. So in and out is the object of your breathing. Okay, so it means that you have to apply mindfulness in and out. But how about the sampajanya? Just now we said sati and sampajanyas are related, right? So the sampajanya means you have to have an awareness of each breath, right? For example, in the knowing of the long breath, you know that you are breathing in and long, out long. Okay, you have to you have to know it. You have to know it. So this is an awareness. So it's not just only in and out, but you also have to know long breath and short breath, isn't it? So it makes your breathing exercise more interesting, isn't it? Otherwise, you will find that how meditation is so monotonous, and you find less interest, so you fall asleep. But as you are putting awareness and mindfulness, then it makes your meditation very exciting. Okay, so this is the pajanati, right? So what is pajanati? Knowing. Knowing to me is just a very simple knowing, right? And it's a kind of discernment, right? Discernment of the quality of the breath, right? So we can see that this is a very simple, rudimentary act of clear awareness. Okay, so that is the breath that's coming in or going out, right? And it's a long breath or the short breath. Okay, so it means that we are just simply observe the breath, right, in and out, right, and not think whether the breath is long breath or short breath. So this is the pajanati. Okay, so it means that we only need to know about the long breath and the short breath. Okay, right? That means that being aware of the in breath and short breath as well, right? So you will find that after periods of time, right, in your long breath, right, you will find slowly turn into a short breath. Here, short breath here refers to the subtle breath, short breath, and you will find that your breath naturally becomes shorter and shorter and you also experience your mind will incline towards the experience of joy. Okay. All right. So we continue, right? From this stage onward, that requires training. Okay. So you find the word training means sikati. So it means that we have to continuously, right, to be mindful of in and out breath, right, of the change of the for example, like especially when you experience the whole breath. What is meant by whole breath? Whole body. Whole body. Of course, here connected with the whole breath, right? It means right. Here referred to the entire length of the breath. So it means you have to have a full awareness of the beginning, right, to the middle, and to the end of each breath, right? So it means that you have to train experience, right? The awareness from the beginning, to the end, right? So it means that to be aware of the entire, moment of breath. Okay, so I mean, this is what Buddha didn't say this, but these are the explanation for the commentary. But I find that a lot of great teachers they agree with this commentary, right? So yeah, so this is what is here referred to the long breath, right? And you will find that as you meditate on this, right, your mind become more and more settled down, right, and you will start experiencing the joys. Okay, so you see, the joy is a very important ingredient for the meditation, right? So you don't find joys in meditation. Even when you associate with someone, also you need to find joy as well, right? Even husband and wife also, if there is no joys, they cannot survive. They cannot live, right? They cannot continue, right? The marriage life. They need to have certain joys in their living. Oh, okay. Now, we look at number 4, right? The 4th stage requires the tranquilizing the bodily formation. Okay, so this what is this, right? I can say that this is like a progressive, right? Quieting down the breath, and not only that, also to associate with the bodily function or bodily activities. Like for example, as you quieting down the breath, right? You're also quieting down your bodily function, bodily formation. Okay, you will find that your body activities become more and more subtle, more and more quiet, more and more peaceful, right? So yeah, eventually, your body also become very peace, very calm. A very good example, right? Is like when you are seeing doctors, right? When you are so kanchiong, right? So nervous, right? And then usually, people will ask you, okay, you take a deep breath, long breath, right? And then and then short breath or long breath and long, in long and out long, is it? So as you experience this kind of breath, right, you find that your whole body become more and more relaxed. Yeah. So similar in the meditation also, when you are experiencing tranquilizing the bodily formation also, you also need to quieting down your bodily activities, bodily function as well. Okay. So this is, you have to experience yourself. Okay. And you also have to think, as I breathe in, especially good for those who suffer from the cancer, right? And you also can use this method, right, to cure the bodily discomfort, right? You can imagine that while I'm breathing in, quieting the bodily formation, right? You can visualize that particular organ infected by this cancer also can come down and cure by itself. You see, so yeah, it's very powerful, right? So you can see that after meditation for quite some time, right? Who knows? 奇迹会发生的吗？ Yeah, and then you will find that that particular areas infected by cancer has been improved. I wouldn't say cured, but has been improved a lot, or to the extent maybe cured. You see, so a lot of things happen. So this meditation is indeed, very, very, very much helpful. Okay. Usually, I also use this method to help, the cancer patient, right? If they have certain discomfort in the body, right? You can ask them, okay, instead of focusing on the in and out breath, they can take in the whole breath, particularly, to calm down, that particular organ discomfort. Okay. And this one is very, very effective. Huh? Okay, now we look at the second part, that is the experience of feeling, right? So after, the body, settle down and, calm down, right? Of course, then you have to start experiencing the feeling of joys, right? And not only that, also feeling of happiness. So this is how the Buddha trained us, right? So, trainers, it means that the feeling of joy and happiness not come naturally. We have to train, right? To give rise to that kind of joy and happiness. Okay? So it means that as you breathe in, right, you train yourself, right? Experiencing joys. Okay, similarly experiencing the happiness. Okay, we come back to this afterwards, but and when you talk about the joys and happiness in this context, right? Since you have the word piti and sukha, what are the differences of these? English words are make no different, joys, happiness, same, but if you look at the Pali words, piti, sukha, are two very different words. Here he said that the joy is the delight that accompany a favorable interest in the object, and the happiness is the pleasant feeling that accompanies the successful concentration. I think we are going. We will give you the illustration afterwards. This, all right. Yeah, you see, when you talk about the joys, yeah, that's how we talk about the differences between the joys and happiness. In the Visuddhimagga, right, there are these illustration, right, of the joys, of the differences of the joys and the happiness. I give an example, is like the travelers, who went for, this work in the desert, right? And the traveler was very thirsty, right? And then, he saw the oasis, oasis in the distance. So at that, he was very tired. If there is no water at all, he will die. But after seeing the oasis, right, he has, he gained the strength. So at that moment, he has joy. So I think the joy is a kind of strength. Right? It's giving him strength. And when reaching that oasis, right, that travelers drank the water in the lake, right, and then he rests under the tree. Okay, then he experienced happiness. So that happiness has a settling down, the meaning of settling down of the body and mind. Okay, so it means that he experienced the happiness that bring about the integration of the body and mind, that is calmness. So the examples given, like the travelers, right? After drinking, he feels so much relaxed, and then he sleep, right, under the tree. Okay. Now we look at this with Visuddhimagga also when they elaborate the joy, because I said the joy is very important, right? Joy is a critical moment. Whenever we need to experience the joy. Say like if you leave, joy is like, in Japan, right? In our ancient, you look at our ancient, our Buddhist practice, they emphasize a lot on the Zen, the Zen. Zen of course translated into Chinese means Chan, but here they talk about a lot of, we have to have joys in our meditation. For example, like in the Japanese, they have this what they call Chan. You see what they call the tea ceremony. The tea ceremony, you see, Chinese people like to drink tea, right? Particularly, they arrange the tea ceremony. So when you look at someone to prepare the tea, the moment you are seeing it, you also can attain jhana also, because the way they do it is very slow, right? And very slow and very mindful, yeah. So similarly, when even Japanese also, they preserve all these good practice of the Zen element. And what are these practices? They are practice basically involving the joys. It means that we have to inculcate what they call, to introduce this kind of joyous elements in our practice as well. Like for example, they have this flower decoration. I usually just make a little bit of job, right? Because I look at them, how they spend their time for flower decoration. They just only take a 2 stalk of flowers and then 1 leaf, and they can spend 2 hours. But I think that is not. I think we are not saying that they are wasting their time, but they really enjoy, facing this, facing that, turning that, turning this. They want to see, the flowers how can be decorated. So yeah, this is how you find joy in every the task you do. Meditation also, say like listening to the music also, you have to find joys in it, right? So in everything you have to find joys. Meditation also, and even like I have said, the what do you call the body chitters, right? You want to give rise to the body chitters, right? They give an example, it's like you have the goosebump, right? You have, or you smile, or you even cry. So these are the very good practice of giving rise to the body chitters. Okay, yeah, and of course, these are the even in Theravada also we said that. But I noticed that a lot of Buddhists they seem ignore the importance of joys. That's why they find very boring the meditation. Yeah, so I think this is what we are saying, that we have to rediscover, the peace and joys in meditation, right? So not just only meditation, even in your day-to-day life, we have to insert the joys and happiness also. Like for example, keeping your rooms very, very clean, right? Or to plant flowers, at home. So these are all very good experience, right? When you look at the flowers, you feel very joyful. The simple flowers, make you so much joy, in your daily life. It's very important. Okay. So now you see, meditation also can have these 5 types of joy. For example, the minor joys. So you felt that, the haze is rising on the body, right? Making the hairs stand upright. Okay. And the second one is like the momentary joys. What is a momentary joy? It's like someone who meditate, you have this, this what they call the swing movement, swing movement of the body. You will, a little bit of, moving of the body. And the third one is sharing joys, right? You're experiencing the crying, right? Laughing, right? If people don't understand this, they would think that they have a more, but indeed it is not. These are the experience of joys, yeah. And then another one is uplifting joys, right? Uplifting joy you experience, it's like levitate the body, right? You feel that, you don't have any weight, right? So the whole body is rising, spring up, into the air. And then another one is prevailing joy. So the whole body is completely prevailed, like a bubble filled up with air. Okay? So 禅悦为师嘛, so even without food for 7 days, you still okay. Your body is filled up. So 禅悦为师, so you feel very, very happy. Okay? So these are the 5 types of 5 different intensity of joys. Okay, now we look at the stage 7. Okay, after experiencing the joys, right? You also eventually you come to the experience of mental formation. Earlier we saw the bodily formation, but here is a mental formation. Okay, mental formation, it means you have to calm down your mental activities. Okay, mental activity. I think at this stage your mind is ready now. Like at the stage of the contemplation of body, you try to calm down the body, but at this stage you calm down the mental activities. Okay, so that is to say, you are no more experiencing the what they call the object of the body. Okay, at this stage, your breath become very subtle, right? Very, very subtle, and then your breath will be experienced by the 6 faculties, right? That is the mind faculty. So it is the mind faculty that experience the breath. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? Because at this stage, you don't have any feeling of the bodily activities. as if someone said, I don't experience my body at all, right? But that is to say there is no experience, but it's your mind experience. It's your mind experience in and out breath. Got it, right? Okay. Then the eighth, tranquilizing. After experiencing, then you have to tranquilize. You can see as the meditations, as you practice, it leads you all the way to the calming aspect, to calm down, to the samatha aspect. You can see that in the practice of contemplation of body also lead you all the way to calm down. Even when you come to the experience of feeling, also talk about the tranquilizing, the mental formation also. Okay, so that is to say through this training, right? It brings to the deepening of the calmness of the mind. Okay, you got it, right? Okay, now we go to another one. Yeah, this one is also very interesting because at this stage onward, right, you are really experience your mind. Usually when we talk about how to experience the mind, nobody know how. They have a lot of questions how to experience the mind. No one know how to experience the mind, right? But you talk about how the physical, faculties experience the object. It's very clear, right? For example, the eye see an object. The object has a color. The object have a shape, right? And it's very tangible and is having a resistance. So these are the experience of the object. Okay, sound also, right? But how about the experience of the mind? How is that experience of the mind? So here the example is given. Okay, they said that the experience of mind is the of course we talk about the experience of mind. It's very different from the experience of the world of five senses: eyes, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind. You see, when you talk about the world of the mind, right? It's like the light. Okay, it's like the light, very warm light, and having the feeling of calmness. You feel very calm, and you feel the warmth. You are surrounded by the light. Okay, that kind of experience is incredible. Okay, so these are the experience, and the reason we experience the light because like in these Upakilesa Sutas, it says very clearly that the Buddhist, before his enlightenment, he also has the experience of the light. You see, he says, this is the quote from the Sutta. What is the cause? What is the reason why my light and vision of forms vanish? Okay. Okay, he said, that is because you have doubts. This doubt is an unwholesome state of mind. Doubts arose in me. And because of that, my immersion, it means that my concentration fell away. Right? When immersion fell away, the light and vision of forms vanished, and I make sure that doubts will not arise in me again. Okay? I mean, this is one of the examples. And other than doubts, you also helps like sloth and torpor, right? And then the restlessness, etc. So these are the obstacles. These are the hindrances of the the mental factors. And so we have to overcome, right, these mental factors, unwholesome parts of mental factors. So then the light will appear. Right. The example is given like this the mirror, right? If the mirror is having so much dust, right? You cannot see the reflection of the mirror, right? So you have to remove the dust until the dust all removed. Then you can see the reflection of the mirror. Similarly, also the mind. If the mind is tainted by the dust, right? Here dust may refer to the defilements, right? Then there's no reflection of the mind. And how is the reflection of the mind? That is light. Okay, I think those who have meditated and experienced this. Okay, and here the Buddha says, other than light, also you will experience the form as well, the object. Okay, the object. Okay, but in Mahayana, those who recite the body, the Amitabha, you see, they also recite Amitabha very seriously, Omitofo, like that. And they said that you can constantly recite Amitabha, for 1 day, 2 day, 3 days, 4 days, like that, up to 7 days. They also talk about 7 days. Then they're sure that you will for sure go to the Pure Land. You see, but again, they talk about someone also in the meditation, this kind of nimitta arises, like other than the light. They also talk about the object, the sign. They said, in the meditation, while reciting the Amitabha, they saw the object Amitabha really came. Yeah, so that is the nimitta, right? So, okay, then, yeah, this is number 9, right? And you look at number 10 also, right? I find it interesting because it talks about the gladdening the mind. And we have seen in the first part and the second part, they deal with giving rise to joy, experience of joy, right? And the third, right, experiencing of the contemplation of the mind. He also talk about gladdening the mind. It means that give more joys to the mind. This is a causative, right? Causative. You give more, right? You have to gladden the mind. So when you talk about the gladden the mind, of course there are many things that we can do in our cultivation, right? They said that okay, and 11 and 12, right? Other like concentration. When your mind is gladdened, right, your mind become more and more concentrated, right? And the last one is the liberating the mind. Okay, so these are the elements. So we can how to give rise that kind of joy, how to gladden the joys in the mind. I think that has to do with your daily practice. In Buddhism, it doesn't mean we have to listen to the Dhamma, but we really have to practice the Dhamma. They said that in your daily life, you try to take refuge in the if possible, take refuge in the triple gems and observe the Panchasilas every day, right? As you recite it in front of the Buddhas, right? You find indirectly, there is this joy being strengthened, okay, and the faith, the devotion being strengthened, okay. And not only that, also this daily life also we try to cultivate the wholesome action, like for example doing dhanas, right? You look at the Buddhist country like in Thai and other Buddhist country, monks usually they go out in the morning, go for Peter pot. Lay people likes to give, right? And that has become their daily cultivation, right? When they are seeing monks, the first thing that appear in their mind is reminding themselves to do good deeds, right? So imagine that when you are doing wholesome deeds by giving dhanas to the sanghas, right? You feel joy, right? I don't know. Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, at that time when I was a lay people, right? I like to offer. Whenever I have opportunity to see the monks, I will talk to my boss. Boss, I want to do dana. You see, and then my boss doesn't know what is dana. But anyway, I said it's okay. I will work another half an hour or another 1 hour, And because when you are doing dhanas, you also have that kind of joy in you. You feel that your whole body is felt with a lot of strength, with a lot of energy, right? And of course, that definitely helps in the meditation also. And not only that, also I think in our daily practice, we try to, other than meditation, we try to recollect the these recollection of the virtues of Buddha's Dharma and Sanghas, right? You can recite, at home, Itipiso, Sokata Bhakti, yeah. And then usually I would encourage people to, chant with the 5 sounds. 5 sounds. And not many people can understand what is 5 sounds, but you chant it properly, you chant it with mindfulness, you chant it with awareness also. And you chant it with the articulation of your mouth, of your mouth, right? And you chant it with the articulation of the sound, right? The nasal sound, right? That nasal sound giving you a very peaceful experience, like that. Buddham Saranam. You see, as I recite this, my mind is very peaceful, right? This is what I call the 5 sounds but articulation. Okay, so Yeah, all these things helps you to, gladden the mind. Not necessarily meditation, but when you are doing, when you are coming to a temple to observe the dhanas, to do dhanas, to observe 5 precepts, right, and the cultivation. So all these things are linked up with each other, connected with each other, right? Or you can plant few plants, in the temples, right? And we look at the plant, oh, you feel good. Yeah, so all these things helps, huh? All right, so when you have gladden in the mind, then eventually your mind is getting to the concentration now. Okay, so you're looking at all these things. It seems that the joy is a very important ingredient for the concentration of mind. Okay. Okay, we look at the last 4, right? Yeah, it means that these last 4, they involve the contemplation of the Dhamma, right? Right. So it means that when you come out of meditation, right? You can, with every in and out and breath, every in and out breath, right? Inclining the mind towards these 4 things. Okay. 4 things, right? When you look at these 4 things, it involves the contemplation of the anicca, dukkha, anatta. Okay. It also involves the experience of nirvanas. It also involves the abandonings of defilement, especially when you attain to the first jhana, second jhana, in the concentration, right? If your mind is still tainted by the sensual desire, then you are not able to attain into the first jhana, right? So you also can experience the cessation. Okay, so you look at these 4 things. They said when you come out of meditation, you try to contemplate the impermanent, right? This is the nature, to see things as they are. You see, that's why it's very clear that in the Buddha's teaching, right, in the meditation, you train to see the vipassana aspect of the nature of reality. For example, the impermanent. That's why after meditation, you can try to breathe in, experience contemplating the impermanent. Breathe out, contemplate on the nature of impermanent. So you also can contemplate on the the 5 aggregates, then these 5 aggregates, and then also you also can contemplate the what they call the dependent co-origination, right? So part, and also you see. So these are the things that you can contemplate on after your meditation. Imagine that when you come meditation, when your concentration is so strong, right? You also gain deeper insight into the natural reality. Of course, this may not be your real experience, but we train our mind to see things, from this perspective. Okay, and then another one, 14, right? He trained us, right? Contemplating the dissipation. Here, the dissipation means referred to the viraga, right? Viraga. So, what is this viraga? This viraga means the abandoning of the sensual desire, right? The reason our mind is not concentrated because we have a lot of sensual desire, right? So when our sensual desires are suppressed, right, or abandoned, right, our mind is liable to get into concentration. It's much easier, right? So when your mind is concentrated, basically you are free from all the viraga, from the dissipation, right? So you can also contemplate on it, or how wonderful it is, to have the experience of the viraga. And this viraga is also the experience of nirvana. Oh? You see, we Buddhists talk about the nirvana, right? All the time we talk about the nirvana, but we never experience nirvana, right? It has become the meal words only, you see. So I think that is not very good for Buddhists. We have met a lot of Buddhists. When they were young time, they said, we want to go to attain nirvana. But when they grow older, at the deathbed, they say, I don't want to go to nirvana, because they have a lot of fears towards nirvana, because they have not experienced nirvana, right? You see, so I think this is a problem. You see, so when we are still alive, right? When we are still young, energetic, right? As we talk about the experience of nirvana, yeah, we can experience nirvana after meditation. Yeah, this viraga is definitely one of the very good experience. You can see that, wow, so excellent. It's so peaceful. It's so wonderful of the meditation. Yeah. So you see, we Buddhists also have a lot of misunderstanding. They said that we shouldn't attach to this kind of experience. I think this is very wrong, is it? When you talk about this experience, they are the feeling. They are the very subtle feeling. They are the wonderful feeling, isn't it? Huh? When you talk about this wonderful feeling, there are two types of feeling. One is the worldly feeling, okay? Tainted worldly feeling. So this kind of worldly feeling with attachment, it will lead us to create hatred and delusion, right? So this kind of worldly feeling should be abandoned, right? But there is a type of feeling, it's called untainted, unworldly, without attachment types of feeling, okay? Like for example, the attainment of jhana, right? This is a very good experience. And because of the Prince Siddhartha, right, when he was young time, having the experience of this first jhana, you see, so no matter how he, when he practiced ascetic, the very painful, the striving, right, he gave up. When he think of his practice when he was young time, immediately he recalled that very subtle experience, and following that experience, very quickly he attained the realization. Yeah. So this is also very important. So this kind of experience we should pursue. Because it will take us out of samsara. So when you talk about don't attach to it, you have to look at what types of feeling first. Don't simply say, don't get attached to it. We ordinary people, we still have to attach something. But Buddha taught us we have to attach something that wouldn't lead us, to retain the samsara, but it will take us out of samsara. Okay? Yeah, so definitely this kind of unworldly, pleasurable feeling should be pursued. And then another one, the 15, is the contemplating the cessation. Here the cessation is also the experience of nirvana. Yeah, it's the experience of nirvana. And what is this nirvana? Imagine that when you attain nirvana, you are completely free from all defilement. Someone who meditate, concentrate, he is also temporarily, free from all the defilement. Okay, while you are completely free from all the defilements, you feel so good. You experience a cessation. So this is the types of the experience of nirvana. And the last one is the contemplating letting go. Patinisagga, letting go. Letting go, yeah, this is like the experience of the equanimity. This is also experience of nirvana. You are completely, disattached. Free from all these defilements. You feel like, I want to become a monk. You don't have any hesitation, right? You see? So yeah, that kind of experience, is a very good experience. So when you look at these four types of contemplation, they're basically training, right? Inclining our mind towards vipassana and the experience of nirvana. So we have to train our minds to all these very good experiences. They are very important. Don't attach to it. You don't attach to it means that you have nothing left, isn't it? Nothing left. That's why you don't attach to it. But because we have such a very good experience, we train our minds to incline towards the experience of nirvanas. Okay. Yeah. So we come back to this. Yeah. The 16 the stages of the coming aspect and the inside aspect. Okay, long, short, experiencing the whole breath, tranquilizing the bodily formation. So these are the contemplation of the body, and you're experiencing the joys, happiness, mental formation, and tranquilizing the mental formation. So these are the aspect of feeling, and then you have experiencing the mind, right? And then gladdening the mind, concentrating the mind, and liberating the mind. This pertains to the contemplation of the mind. You look at the first 12 stages, they are samatha aspect. But again, mind you, The samatha here doesn't mean only samatha. There is also aspect of vipassana, as we have seen that. But here the samatha is predominant. And you look at the last four, you also need to have a certain amount of concentration for you to contemplate. Yeah, but anyway, here you had the contemplating, the impermanent fading away, cessation, and relinquishment. So these are the aspects of vipassana. Again, here the vipassana also require concentration. And because you count meditation, right? So your concentration is still very strong. Okay, so these are the training. Okay, so as you train like that, continuously, the most 7 years, the shortest 7 days, right? With this kind of training, you will attain the Sakadagami and Anagami.
Thank you, Bhante. So this one got so many stages, like stage 1 to stage 16. Yeah, so this is steps. These are steps that we should progress to, right?
Yeah.
So we start from the bottom, first one, and then we slowly progress upwards.
Yeah, these are reference.
Yeah, so how do you know like which stage do you?
Because you have an awareness. You have an awareness. Okay. But usually when you for the training, the initial training, that require at least 1 hour to 1.5 hours continuously with the first training. And sometimes you can skip. Yeah. In fact, you can practice at any stage if you want. If you are an advanced, you can practice at any stage. Like someone straight with experiencing the joy. That doesn't mean that he followed the breathing in and out. He still, right? But he can skip. Okay. But of course, for beginners, we encourage them to follow this method. But when you are in advanced, you can just skip it, or you can start with number 4 or number 5, like that.
Then just now you also mentioned something, I think you explained, but I didn't really catch. What's the difference between joy and happiness?
Oh yeah, okay. The joys and happiness, when you talk about the joys, right? I think the example is given is clear enough, right? It means that when travelers, or when you talk about the meditation, when you had the experience of joys, right? It gives us a lot of the strength in the meditation. Okay, like for example, experience of the crying, experiencing of smiling. You see, all these give me a lot of strength. Okay, give you a lot of strength. Then when you come to the happiness, it's more settling down, like the travelers. You see, seeing the oasis, you see, in the distance, right? Then that gave me a lot of strength, right? After drinking, then I felt so peaceful, so calm, so quiet, right? I felt like to sleep. Okay, that kind of settling down of the mind.
So joy is like excitement, and happiness is like peace.
But be careful with the word assignment. Yeah. Definitely it's not excitement, but I think you can use that kind of words to describe. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. But I don't like the word excitement. Yeah. We definitely say that it gives you a lot of strength. Okay, a lot of strength. Okay. Like someone who meditate, someone had an experience of the moving of the bodies, you see. That is also giving him a strength. You see. Because there is this circulation of the chi, right, in the body, right? So when you have a lot of pain and sickness, right, and the chi while moving, throughout the body, it gives you a lot of strength in the bodies, yeah, and it can overcome all kind of pain and sickness, especially when you have the physical, the sickness, and then they kind of the chi moving around. Can overcome all those sickness. Yeah. That is my meaning of strength.
Bhante, the Pali word is piti and sukha.
Yeah.
So joy and happiness. So some interpret it as joy as in joy of the body, a bodily feeling. and then Sukha as the mind, joy in the mind.
Definitely.
So that's why there's this difference.
Yeah, definitely. Like giving a lot of strength is more on the physical aspect. Physical aspect. You see, it's like moving of the body. You know, the hair stood on the, the goosebump, and even the smiling, right? All these pertain to the body. Yeah. Especially when you come to the happiness, that pertain more to the mind. Yeah. That pertain to the mind. Yeah. Okay. Closing chant. Mano po bangama dhamma mano seta mano maya manasache padotena vasativa karotiva tato nang dokamang vedi chakang va vahato padang manopo bangama dhamma mano senta mano maya manasache pasanena bahasativa karotiva tato nang sukang mang veti chayava anapayini bhavatu sappamangala ragantu sappadevata sappabbuddhanubhavena sada soti bhavantu te bhavatu sappamangala ragantu sappadevata sabadam mahanubhavena sada soti bhavantu te bhavatu sappamangala ragantu padevata sapasang anubhavena sada soti bhavantu te sadhu sadhu sadhu